So this video was spurred on by a comment from Bingo Night. It goes, I don't know if you would be up for this, but I would be so interested in hearing more about Kibbe for lolita. I know I'm a soft classic for sure, and trying to balance out the OTT-ness with most dresses with the minimalism of soft classic is throwing me for a loop. So when I first read this, I misinterpreted it. I thought they wanted to wear OTT lolita as a soft classic, but felt a little overwhelmed in it. So I'll build upon my ideas for dresses from the previous video on this and focus more on accessories for a more traditional and OTT version of lolita. For the clothing, keep it moderate and minimal for that classic effect. Often they go for old school with minimal trim, but they can do prints. Prints with symmetrical elements like these on the bodice, prints that are not too large in scale or small in scale, prints that are not too bold and contrasting will make that a classic print. You might struggle in super rococo lace monster styles because of the super yin or the pleather super structured yang styles, but any archetype can wear any outfit they want. We can balance it out with accessories or makeup or just dress in contrast with our body geometry. For accessories we can wear any style, but we want it moderate, balanced and symmetrical. No surprise there. OTT and the classic don't seem to mix, as the classic archetype denotes a minimal use of accessories, but here's the thing, you don't have to adhere to every rule within your essence or image ID. You can still get that harmonious look by following some of the rules, and personal taste should take precedent over any fashion rules. So we can break the rule of minimalism here and keep our accessories and maybe our dress in more classic silhouettes to complement that classic beauty. Classics don't need a lot to get that OTT effect compared to other archetypes, so I would experiment with how much accessories you want to stack and layer on yourself, and choose what you find to your personal taste. Anyway, what does a classic accessory look like, and how do we wear them? So you probably know that macro trends like pearls work, especially in classic lolita. They're quite elegant, but like this, and not this. These asymmetrical shapes lean more natural. These giant pearls are really more dramatic. But simple pearls and the gold or silver chains aren't for everyone. This is a glamorous princess fashion. So how do classic people dress more eccentric? Firstly, we'll look at verified soft classic Catherine Deneuve in donkey skin. In this film, she dresses in princess fashions which work for lolita well. One thing is the dresses themselves. There is often symmetry in the skirt panels, or if the sleeves are big and poofy, the neckline is more geometric and the trim more minimal. I think this dress here is a good example of really leaning into that classic simplicity. Her hair is a middle part, a classic staple, and in an updo mimicking historical hair due to the roll or a ponytail. This minimal symmetrical style shows off her face and décolletage, but you don't have to be limited to these. I'm going to be brief with hair as I feel this video is already going to be quite long, but feel free to let me know if you want to hear more about my ideas with hair for any archetype. I love Catherine's little crowns. They are on the smaller side, but she's soft classic, so there's that extra yin she can take. The crown is also pointy. They look a bit sharp, like it could be a good impromptu murder weapon, so there's that yang element. The crowns also aren't super extravagant with tons of jewels in multiple bold colours, keeping it minimal. The use of accessories is also a good example of how to accessorize if we don't want to go OTT. I think this pared back look works, but a simple classic necklace or ring wouldn't look out of place if you wanted to add more. Although as dresses tend to have higher necklines in lolita, you may not feel your neck or décolletage is too empty. Another example is Dita Von Teese. I don't think she's been verified by Kibbe or Kitchener, but she seems to be considered a classic by the internet, so we'll treat her as so. She has these glamorous accessories, but one thing is even if they aren't always classic in size or weight, they tend to be symmetrical. This feather headdress. Feathers are lightweight, very floaty and yin, more ethereal or romantic, but there's some jewels to add some visual weight and balance things out. The jewels are also moderate in size and more subdued in colour compared to the extravagance of the feathers. And of course they're symmetrical, there's two going opposite sides, and she has quite a few pieces with this symmetry. When she goes asymmetrical, especially at a large scale, it can disguise the balanced nature of her beauty. I like this Hedy Lamarr looking one with stars. I think this could go well with a Milky Planet or something like that. You could do this with something like head bows instead of one big one, two smaller ones placed symmetrically, or flowers. or jewels. I think Bingo Night mentioned a side part to balance out the side headbow, so if you were set on a side headbow, maybe try that. If you're feeling elegant, vintage style hats and a bit of netting could work well. The geometric netting is made more yin with it being small scale, which could take it further with things like small scale hats and flowers. Flower crowns work well if you're feeling very 2010s. I'm being nitpicky, but I feel this one on Catherine looks more harmonious than this one on Disha. The roses lean more romantic and the size feels a little dramatic as well. It feels the roses should be smaller. Although Catherine has an asymmetrical placement of different flowers, they're more moderate in size and the colour is more light and muted. It isn't super bold like the roses, so I see Catherine first, whereas with Dita I see the crown first, as if the crown is wearing her. Flower crowns also look different across cultures, so maybe the Latinx style isn't your thing, but the Ukrainian style is. But as always, please be respectful when using cultural elements outside your own. For jewellery, Dita doesn't shy away from glamour. Even when she's going more dramatic, I think it looks nice still, as everything else is moderate and classic. When she wears jewellery in more classic lines, we can see how layering is easier, which should be good for an OTT look. Also remember, you are likely a mix of essences as well as classic, or if you're using purely Kibbe, you are either a soft or dramatic classic, so you have an undercurrent of romantic or dramatic. And you can incorporate this as a sort of seasoning on a classic meal. I'm not a classic personally, which is ironic as I wear a fair bit of classic lolita. My jewellery in lolita is quite natural, but I thought I would point out some pieces. This headband, it's moderate in size, has a uniform curved shape and symmetry. Something like this could be a good addition. These rings I have, a simple ring with a jewel in the middle, a very timeless style. This bunny ring may seem ingenue or too yin, but the bunny is made in a clean style that isn't overly cute. This necklace and bracelet, they're pearls or pearl and chain, a moderate size compared to my statement chain. The bows have scalloped edges but a geometric shape, are in a light pink but also this deep black. Maybe a bit more dramatic classic. I thought that I'd add a recent co-ord I did during making this video. I like to do this thing of a head bow and two identical hair accessories which I think would work well for the classic symmetry. The necklace is quite classic, the beads are moderate and muted like my muted colouring, so it all sort of blends in. But it seems I sort of go for classic jewellery with a hint of more natural, chunky styles, so perhaps I'm more helpful than I first thought. My co-ord is also on the more minimal and low contrast sort of vibe. I like symmetry, especially in the socks and hair. My blouses don't tend to be super frilly, but not really sharp and structured. I add more elements in line with my body and essence, predominantly natural, but the base is quite classic friendly. Classics might suit a dress like this. The lace trim is moderate in size and frequency, the print is symmetrical on the bodice and isn't super bold. Because classic is such a perfect blend, it can work on other essences or image IDs without looking too contrasting. I would add other elements to your personal blend like I have, to create a unique look. I hope I've showed you today that classics don't have to be minimal or boring and can wear lolita in a way that showcases their beauty. I hope this actually helped and I haven't completely misinterpreted the question and given a politician answer of saying a lot while saying nothing. Of course, your personal taste tops all my suggestions, so feel free to follow or break the rules. And with that, go have fun with fashion. Okay, bye!